So we have the moderator of the XU Development Communication Society, Ms. Rachel Tolinero Baraquias. So Ms. Rachel, please. Okay, let's have the setup first. Also, we have Mr. JB Divesa, the former editor-in-chief of Sunstar CDO. Another round of applause, please.
We also have the editor-in-chief of the Crusader publication, Therese Mole.
And last but not the least, we have the head of the Digital Communication and Move PH of Rappler. We have Ms. Stacy De Jesus. Also joining our panel members, we have Ms. Chai Hofelania, the head of investigative committee in Rappler. So, Ms. Okay, thank you, ma'am.
So thank you very much for being with us until this point. We have a very important we had a very important discussion earlier, and now what we would like to drive home is what's happening here in CDO, and then why is it that it's important to highlight, or why is facts important here as well in CDO. I-ano natin yung mga kasama natin sa panel, and we'll ask first the ones from CDO. Siguro one question I would like to ask is, kasi taking off from the discussion earlier, di ba, like yung cyberbullying, yung mga misogynistic statements, yung fake news, mga ganon. Ano ba ang local situation dito? Ano ba yung mga experiences natin dito sa CDO? You want to start? Siguro si Mary Therese. Start muna siguro.
Okay, thank you. Good morning. Here in CDO, really, if in a wider scope, kumbaga, if you're from Mindanao, it's really critical to publish something that people would think you're against the government, because everyone knows na our president came here in Mindanao, and then a lot of the president's supporters are from Mindanao, and then when you publish something here, na sometimes you not oppress, but you go against, you withstand what the government or the administration is sort of implementing, or what the government is voicing out. Tapos you go against it, or you take your side as a media against it. It's very critical kasi you get a lot of backlash. Those things happen, and then
has that happened to you? The EIC of Crusader, has that happened to you?
It has happened, and Crusader publication also, because we tried to express our side regarding the Rappler na from early January. Yes, the case. And then we published a statement that we are for Rappler because we value press freedom, and then people didn't see it that way. So we got a lot of backlash because they were saying sa comment section na we were dilawans, or how much did Rappler pay us, yung mga ganun na comments, and other people were getting below the belt to the extent of attacking our members of the press, our members, and then they were saying na sana masunog na kayo, ganun, or mamatay na sana kayo, yung mga ganun. Those comments are real, the ones you showed there, and they can be seen sa comment section namin. And it got a lot of shares, a lot of reactions, but most of the reactions were angry reacts or sad reacts, or haha, kasi they were trying to be sarcastic with it. So that occurred, and then the way we handled it, we published an explainer, sort of like an opinion, an editorial, why we side with Rappler. And then some people were pleased with it because at least we defended why we took a stand. But majority really didn't buy it because they really think na we are Dilawans or we are doing it because we are against Duterte, because Duterte daw is trying to close down Rappler or whatsoever, and then that's what they're trying to believe because they were against the administration or against Duterte, so we're trying to side with Rappler even though the case daw has nothing to do with press freedom. So.
Rachel, any thoughts on this, yung experiences here in CDO in relation to cyberbullying?
I think what I noticed is that
fake news?
we're in the academe. People react negatively online easily for people they do not know. It's so easy to cyberbully people you do not know. It's so easy to attack them. But if these people are those you know, that's when you take a break. We had that experience before. I think it's very similar. The department issued a statement of support for Rappler, and it was the highest reach the page has gone for the department. And it was all negative, ridiculous, and these are the people we do not know. But what we noticed, I shared it on my page, no likes, no comments. You know, people could be like horse, but you know, silence could be a lot of things. So there was no comment about it, but when a few of our students shared it, that's when the attacks came, even from our alumni. So what we're saying here is that there was no comment on my page because I was their former teacher, and I know them. But it was so easy to attack. We were sharing the same.
Students.
Yes, we were sharing the same page. We were sharing the same information. No comment under my share, but there was more attacks on those students who shared it because it was easy to attack students who are like them and they don't know them. But because I know these people, it's so hard to...
Natakot sila sa'yo.
Probably. But you know what I noticed, that these people are cowards. If they know you and still would want to say something about you, they will hide in fake accounts. There's a certain power with anonymity. So I think kanina what they're saying is that, can you tell that person in front, up front without Facebook? I doubt. People are brave because of anonymity. So a lot of hates came, but none actually really messaged us and engaged in conversations. And that's really sad thing. I posted the same thing on Twitter. I received a few comments, bobo, tanga, why would you do that? And then I replied and said, you know, let's discuss this and try to make an intellectual discourse about it, and they stopped. So that's very alarming. People are easy to say you're bobo, but will take a back step when you ask them, let's converse, rather than, you know.
So you try to engage and
Yes.
then and ask them questions about the issues?
Yes,
And
because
they
they don't. And that's what I tell my students. You know, sometimes, baka may ugat yung hate. So you ask, where's the hate coming from? And the sad thing is that they don't want to engage with you.
That's interesting. Si JB Devesa from Sunstar, we were chatting earlier about this. Like, why is it important? One, why is this, or how is this affecting, for instance, this kind of atmosphere? How is this affecting the coverage of issues that matter to CDO, to the community? I think you were discussing one particular issue. Can you talk about that?
I'd like to just clarify na I'm no longer EIC of Sunstar.
I'm sorry, former.
Let's get that out.
Former.
Pero I'll tell you about real experiences of the newspaper. No? For instance, two experiences. Yung isa, about yung pagputok ng Marawi seeds. So this was last year. And immediately after, siyempre, displacement, maraming na-displaced na tao. And some of those displaced people, IDPs, came to CDO. And alam naman natin na may mga biases yung mga tao, no? Christians against Muslims, or Lumads, or May mga ganong and it was, and we had, personally I had friends na mga Maranao, and they were telling us in their posts sa FB that a lot of them were having difficulties finding homes for rent in CDO because bias nga. Pag nalaman na Maranao, ayaw nang iparenta. So we did a story on this, no? And maraming engagement, and a lot of those engagements were not really positive. Reinforce the biases. And, well, hindi naman masyadong na-amplify yung issue, no? Kasi sa dami nga ng developments last year, na araw-araw may bombahan, may napatay na ganyan. So, eventually, natabunan yung issue. So, ang feeling namin was that it ran for several days, but I do not think that it got the discussion that it needed. Pangalawang example was yung, I'm sure a lot of you here, na may mga nakatolda sa Capitol, di ba? Ito yung mga lumad na galing sitio Kamansi. And pangalawa na yata nila to na evacuation. Kasi nga, sitio Kamansi is in Lagonglong, is just in Misamis Oriental, about mga this sitio was the site of may pinakawalan yung NPA dati. Dito yon na police. So dito yung prisoner exchange. So you can say that medyo mataas yung insurgency sa areas na yan, no? So natural, these areas are also heavily militarized, and these are lumad areas that are so magandang himasukan ng private investment. So ngayon, so nag-evacuate sila. Andito sila sa Capitol. May storya lumabas. Makikita mo sa comment section na may automatic na mabilis mag-comment. Nagko-comment na, uy, mga...
Nakaka-publish pa lang comment na. Oo,
kapapublish. Mga komunista yan, mga walang kwenta yan, mga ganung red baiting, kumbaga. So, it became, madalas tong ganito, and these are parang, hindi naman natin masasabi kung saan ang galing. No, but we know who are benefiting from this tactics. No? So, ganyan. May mga issues, madaling ma-sideline, madaling ma-taint, o hindi na papag-usapan dahil sa naka-cloud yung
because of the quality of conversations
na-hijack yung conversation.
Online. Chai, what do you, pulling up from this particular conversation in CDO where you have a major a key issue, 'di ba, yung issue ng mga lumad, tapos naha-hijack or medyo hindi napapansin because of the kind of conversations we are. Anong tingin mo, anong impact ng ganitong klaseng conversation sa discussions on matters of public interest, matters of public policy na kailangang alam ng mga tao at kailangang may mga tao?
Actually, ito yung setting the news agenda. Parang if hijack yung issues na important, then ang effect nun sa ibang media is wag na lang pansinin yon. Now, if that happens, then yung issues that truly matter to a community, halimbawa, maisa sa isang tabi yun, and mada-downgrade yung importance of that issue, which is not a healthy thing. So ang challenge siguro to journalists there would be to persist in writing about these issues kahit na walang nagbabasa or kahit na walang pumapansin, walang nag-share, walang nagla-like, because we think they're important. Pero yon, yung balance nga doon is sometimes you also need to come up with stories that people want to read or are interested in reading. So it's really a balancing act.
So, dito sa ano to, I'm wondering about, kasi kanina, when I came inside the room, may napansin ako yung social media literacy. May program na gayon. Are there initiatives, what are the initiatives here locally to address this kind of issue?
What you saw was a project of the Development Communication Society. It's called #SML, the Social Media Literacy Project. So it really aims to raise awareness on how people should be more ethical, should behave online. And in fact, even that page has been receiving backlash, especially if you tell people, there's that page, it reaches 3 million, and organic reach, 3 million in 2 months. And we saw the post was, do not use caps lock. Because people can relate to it. They were saying, this one is in Bisaya, imong mama. So, in caps lock. So it's really more...
Nanay mo.
Nanay mo. So it's really more on, why should you tell me what to do online? So it's as simple as that. It's not really a rule, but it's really more of a guide or a tip how to be more mellow online. So do not use caps lock if it's to be not harsh about what you're saying. To really more engage with people, avoid caps lock, because caps lock is an internet, internet shouting. And that post alone received 3 million. We're like, should we see this as a good sign or a bad sign? But the team these are all student-led. It's a student-led campaign. We're partnering with the senior high school students of the university, and along with the media and information literacy subjects with the K-12. And we're saying maybe this is an opportunity to actually reach out. 3 million of probably both good and bad is still good, because at least we're reaching out to them. And they're tagging their friends. Oh, caps lock daw tayo, oh. So, while we're getting their attention.
At least they're listening. Ikaw, Therese, may, do you have, may initiatives ba yung, publication, for instance, na related to this?
What we have in the Crusader publication, we have this Project Banwag. We teach for free different schools, whether it be high school, tertiary or secondary, and then we teach them basics in journalism, like news writing, feature writing, interview do's and don'ts, mga ganun po. And then we also delve into the artistic side. Now we teach photography also, videography, yung mga basics ng ganun. Sometimes we also, depending on what the moderator asks of us, minsan po nagko-conduct din kami ng ethics, yung ethics in journalism, or we introduce to them and we orient them about civic journalism also.
Stacy, baka gusto mong sabihin kung ano yung ginagawa ng move related to this.
So itong initiative na to is actually one of the things na talagang na-realize namin na kailangan. Last week we were in Cebu. April we were in Los Baños. This week we're here. In the next 2 weeks we'll be in Leyte. Tapos Cavite after that, and so forth. We're going around the country kasi sa totoo lang, as a media organization, pwede lang naman kaming umupo at magsulat. Tapos hayahay na yung buhay namin. Pero, this is a big problem now that we feel that we have the knowledge to share and the capability to share as well. Kung sa inyo, kaya kami nandito because kayo mga bata, you inherit social media. And so that's why meron kaming workshop later on. 3 things na ituturo namin. So that's claim, fact-checking. And then second one is verifying information during disasters, because disaster risk reduction is our biggest advocacy in Rappler, apart from fighting for media and democracy. And then the third is yung storytelling. So those are things na initiatives na sinishare namin. And in doing so, we encourage you guys to engage and be part of the process. Kasi kids nowadays, katulad nga ng pinakita ni Ma'am Chai kanina, that social media has a huge impact. Just using your phone in one tweet can organize a protest. Pero what we do not realize is not using it for good is dangerous or can actually affect many things, even our democracy.
We'll spend the next minutes, the remaining minutes, entertaining questions from you, from the audience. I'm sure kanina may yung mga pinag-uusapan natin dito, you have questions, may mga agam-agam kayo. Who wants to ask? Who has a question to ask? Of anybody here? May extra ba na mic? Saan yung... Ayun yung microphone sa side. Tsaka either sides there are microphones. Okay. So yes.
Hi, my name is Jalen Ignatius Alarmo, Development Communication Student, Project Head for Social Media Literacy Program, or we also call it #SML for So Much Love. In social media, our campaign is to counter hate speech. So we want to know, how do you qualify hate speech? As to what extent, on extreme level, and to what minimum level do you qualify hate speech?
Okay. Who would like to answer that? Stacy?
Sige, I'll take that. Because meron kaming #NoPlaceForHate na campaign. And that campaign, actually, nung ginawa namin yun, kasi it means well, di ba? Kasi no place for hate, pero we got backlash, katulad ng social media literacy campaign for it. Nasabi na nagma-martial law daw kami sa comment section. Pero basically, what it means is that everyone who says ad hominem attacks, deleted na agad yon right away, ad hominem. So what's ad hominem for those who don't understand? So for example, my one time, nagsabi ako na I think President Duterte should apologize. This is about the catcalling. That's my right as a citizen of this country to say that. Doesn't mean anti ako. I'm just saying he should apologize for that catcalling, and then we can move on, because accountability is one thing for everyone. Kailangan but it's most important with public servants. So, ang nakuha ko na comment doon immediately, mabilis din, mukha akong doorknob. So yung kapatid ko daw, drug addict, tapos bayaran ako, sunod-sunod yun. And those things do not in any way contribute to the conversation. Ad hominem siya kasi atake na personalan na. Hindi man lang sinabi, bakit siya mag-apologize, wala naman siyang kasalanan. Doon makikipag-usap pa ako. Pero nung sinabihan mo na akong mukha akong doorknob, wala na tayong pupuntahan dito. Immediately, deleted na yon. Those are hateful things. Kapag nagsasabi ka ng action, you want to start a debate, and a debate is healthy and good. People think, alam mo, wag tayo magdebate kasi masama yan. But debate is good. Kasi we get to hear what other people think. Pero when that happened, immediately, deleted na.
Okay. So, malinaw. Basta hindi na nakaka-contribute sa conversation kasi personal siya. Hindi siya tumutulong.
Thank you.
Okay. Next, please introduce yourself.
Okay. Good morning. My name is Parapia Silva, and I am the Editor-in-Chief of Blue Gold Visions of St. Mary's School. My question is directed to all members of the panel po. A couple of years ago, in a debate competition that I attended, we were given a motion regarding the #NoPlaceForHate policy implemented in the comment section for Rappler. And during the debate, the clash was mainly focused on the matter of freedom of expression and the standards of civility and decorum. And it was argued that both concepts are mutually exclusive. Both benches insisted that absolute freedom of speech and civility cannot exist simultaneously po. My question is in regards with the social aspect of media in this case, particularly where these two concepts clash. Especially nowadays now, we see people who exert their opinions in a subjective and oftentimes oppressive manner, right? And their automatic defense is freedom of speech ko naman din to, right? May gamit pa ng tu quoque ad hominem as we saw earlier in the previous presentations, right? So my question is, how do you, as an influential media platform promote among digital citizens proper conduct? In fact, are there standards that apply for every single situation, or are there exceptions? How are you able to still identify the fine line between what's offensive and totally objective? How do you impose that on your followers as people who have this influence po?
Okay. JB, would you like to answer that?
Nosebleed, no? Mahirap tanungin sa sa maliliit na community media. Kasi nga, iba yung sitwasyon ng community media sa isang media organization gaya na Rappler. For instance, sa community, yung editor-in-chief, siguro meron siyang associate, meron siyang, in the case of Gold Star, may 2. Yun na yun. And then, aside from your load, editing the stories, you also have to, kung ano yung mag-tweet, ikaw lahat yun. So sometimes, okay kung makita mo, you can answer, you can flag comments that are offensive, but often, nasa bottom ng priority list. So, it's actually depending more on the civility of those engaging in the discussion, more than being gatekeepers dun sa comments. That's a sad reality in smaller media organizations.
Would you like to answer?
You are in grade 11, grade 12?
Grade 12 po.
In grade 12, you have media and information literacy, right?
I'm in Humes po, and
media and information literacy is a core subject with the K-12
yes,
right
but
now.
we will be taking it up in the second semester pa.
So look forward to it. Because sadly, the social media, we've embraced the social media, but for us, na hindi umabot sa K-12, we were not taught how to behave online. It has this great influence in our lives because we live with it. We wake up checking your Twitter, our social media. We sleep with our social media, sign in and sign off. But we were not really taught how to actually respond or behave well with social media. This is what your MIL is for. Sadly, because MIL is a new subject, what other educators think of MIL is just about computer literacy, how to turn on the computer and how to use the internet. But the depth and the core of MIL is really to teach you how to be responsible not just social media, but media users. How is this related to the question you asked? Because you asked how to draw the line of what is engaging and what is not good. At the end of the day, it's still you, individual, who would decipher if this is good enough or not. What is a good comment? If you're expecting an answer for a question, it's not really to ridicule someone or to belittle someone. If you really aim to engage with a conversation. That's why sometimes I do not post a lot online because especially opinions. I'd rather say, you know what? Let's enjoy our conversation over milk tea because online, daming nakikisaw-saw. And sometimes they won't respect your opinion or not. So at the end of the day, you will be your own gatekeeper.
Okay.
Stacy.
When social media is power, freedom of expression or speech is power. But where it ends, personally for me, is when your freedom of speech or your right starts to infringe on the right of another. So for example, if you say freedom of expression, kaya kitang tawagang bayaran, that's already infringing on my right because you can't call me that without proof. So that's where it ends. Apart from the ad hominem attacks, kapag nagde-death threat ka na, that's already infringing on the right of another. So, simple lang for me. Like, when you step on the right of another person, that's where you draw the line.
That's the line. What about you, Therese? Thoughts on that?
Okay. So, sa akin, kasi, you cannot be, I mean, everyone has their freedom of speech kasi democratic tayo, lahat tayo naman pwede na magsalita ng kung ano-ano. But then, hindi ka na nagiging objective once you become unethical. So you have to have ethics. Yung you do not ruin others' reputation. You do not take on your personal bias kapag yung issue should be objectively said. Like writing an article about it. Kung mag-write ka ng article about it, you have to be objective kasi it's against the code of ethics na yung yung side mo is based on your personal agenda, based on your personal bias. So for me, even if you have freedom of speech, you stop being objective once you become unethical.
Chai?
Okay. For me, simple lang din. I don't believe that freedoms are absolute. Once, yung point ni Stacy, once the exercise of that freedom infringes on my freedom, then it ends for you. So personal attacks, personal threats, threats to life. This is my life. You have no right to threaten me. This is my credibility. This is my name. You have no right to destroy it without any basis. That's why there are libel laws, there are slander laws, kasi yun yung check. So once that line is crossed, I think it's incumbent on the moderator sana of the media organization to interfere, to intervene, and then maybe warn muna that, because good faith, maybe the person may not be aware that he or she is doing wrong, so maybe an initial warning. But if there is repeated same behavior despite the warning, then I think any media organization has the right to cut off that person from commenting.
I hope that answers your question. Last question na lang, and then we go into the, because we're almost out of time. And please be brief.
Good morning, my name is Jan. I am from St. Mary's School as well. My question is relating to the fake news, about fake news. Like what the reporter said in the presentation earlier mentioned, anything critical is fake. So nowadays we see people unwilling to communicate with each other, most especially people in the opposing side, because we're too stubborn to let go of our personal biases. Like kapag dilaw ka tapos a pro-Duterte provides valid evidence about something, typically the common reaction is that we reject it, diba? So my question is, how do you, as a social media platform, encourage netizens to not shape their opinions based on their biases but on facts and research?
Okay. Who wants to answer that? Stacy?
Social media. I know. Sorry, the last question is, how do you make...
How do you, as a social media platform, encourage netizens to not shape their opinions based on their biases but on facts and research?
So, in general, I don't think anyone is not biased. We're always biased for something. The mere fact na yung media organizations have editors who choose to pursue stories versus another, that's your own bias. What's important is objectivity. Yun ang hindi mo yun dapat, kunwari biased ako for red versus yellow. That we all have our own biases. Now, the danger here is kapag it creates dichotomies or parang it divides us as a nation when we should be looking towards one goal. For me, biased from the media organization, I think the answer to that is more information. That's why we push for net neutrality. When people are equipped with information and knowledge, they know how to assess. So for example, before this, hindi nyo alam yung difference about fake accounts or trolls, for example, and how they operate. But now that you do, you are more aware na may mga input na binibigay na nakikita niyo sa social media na baka it's part of a bigger narrative na nagke-create sila ng alternative reality. So simple, again, just access to more information. Kapag mas alam natin, mas aware tayo, we are more objective than less or than biased. But again, bias is like
lahat tayo meron nun eh.
Okay, so all of us have biases. Okay. Last, na lang siguro, one last round, and very briefly, any other messages that you want to share with our audience for all of you? Panel.
Ako siguro, sa lahat ng, with all this, no, fake news, disinformation, misinformation, I think ang importanteng stress is that, yun nga, no freedom is absolute. And then, we also should begin making those, pitching these messages or posting these posts, halimbawa, that destroys or besmirches my reputation by calling me bayaran. Ako, I would really begin thinking of bringing you to court despite knowing that how long, no, the battle is. Because ang problema is that I don't think a lot of us realize that we are driving this country to the pits with the things that we do in social media. So I think it's about time that saludo ako dun sa ginawa ni NATO, no, Kanato, that he called out and he brought these people, made them apologize. I think we should have more of those and identify people behind these hateful messages and take them to court.
I'd use these words from Rappler. So have courage. Many of you are courageous to mock or cyberbully others, but do not have courage to stand up what you think is true, because you will think that somebody will stand up for you. Please begin with yourselves. So if you think something is wrong, call out. Be courageous. Do not be afraid, and do not wait for somebody else to stand up for you.
When you engage media organizations, for example, it's important for us to get criticism, because the same way that we speak truth to power, that's the role of media. The same way we hold the government officials accountable is the same way we hold ourselves accountable to our readers. And the same way you hold the media accountable and the government accountable, you should hold yourself accountable as well. As Rachel said, it takes courage to admit you're wrong, to correct mistakes, to call out mistakes. And I think we need more that kind of courage versus courage of calling people out for being ugly or something else. Diba? And with great power comes great responsibility. You have a great powerful tool in your hand that we've seen can actually save lives, can connect people, can create conversations, can create a revolution. You can use it for social good, but you can also use it to destroy the country. So with that, I hope that you stay engaged and you stay informed. Read more, lalo na maraming mga batang hindi nagbabasa ngayon. Please make it a habit to read, because you will benefit from it, and with that, mas empowered kayo to take part in conversations and debates.
Just engage, but engage well. Kasi it's useless if you engage yourself sa mga social issues and whatsoever, pero you yourself, you do not fact check and you do not you do not communicate properly. So there's a fine line between being woke and being butthurt. So know the difference. And read lang ng read, do research always, because from what I have seen sa Twitter, most probably sa Twitter, na they are claiming na wala na daw essence yung media. I mean, the media cannot be trusted anymore because the truth, they are filtered out with regards to Nutri-Asia, with regards to boycotting Jollibee and the other companies. So media do not report that down. So media is not credible and whatsoever, maraming sinasabi. But then that does not mean we will do the same, because we are future journalists. At this very young age, you should already know your role as a journalist, you have to be ethical and you have to engage, just engage always, take part. Kasi it's useless kung journalist ka but you do not even speak because you do not have the courage. It all boils down to courage. If you do not have the courage and then you are a journalist, you should value press freedom and freedom of speech and do it the ethical way.
Last, short. Two things. One is you have to stand up for the truth, because if we don't, then lies will proliferate, and it's difficult if you're surrounded and if we drown in lies, then it's very difficult to make good decisions. And then second, yes, courage, but I can also understand why some might be hesitant to stand up and speak up. So in that case, what you have to do is to organize. You have to look for like-minded souls, people who have the same values, and people who will probably be more emboldened if there are 2 of you or 3 of you. Because fighting for what is right, fighting for the truth, may be difficult kung mag-isa ka. Pero kung yun, so dapat organized because what we are up against is they're systematic, they're organized, they're well-funded. So mahirap kung isa-isa lang. But together or as a group, we can probably do better.
Thank you very much to all. And on that note, I would like to leave with you a few last messages na in relation to this. So this is kasi the question is about about how do you So yung ang final the messages, di ba, from our group of panelists, very consistent. Engage but be accountable. Engage but be responsible, di ba? And that is something that we ask that we also as media organizations try to adhere to, and this is also why actually Rappler got accredited into the IFCN. So kumbaga, if you are practicing that, you get credibility. So this is what we have been doing. Like first, we have the track record of verification. Next, ito yung mga yon, we've been fact-checking this past various events, and then this is something we are really proud of. So what you were asking, how do you hold yourself accountable? How do you show that you are accountable? We try to show ourselves to hold ourselves accountable, but by actually disclosing what we did wrong. So at the end of the day, it's about disclosing what you did wrong. What are your biases? Next slide. Like what's the methodology? How did you arrive at something, diba? And then next slide. What are your biases? How do you make money? Those things are asked of us, and we answered. That's actually something that we were told we were required to do when we applied for the IFCN, and that is what got us the third-party partnership. And this is something. This might have applied to Rappler, but we ask you to apply these principles also to yourselves. Like, it's at the end of the day, people need to know where you're coming from. People need to know what your biases are. We all have our biases. We just need to be responsible and accountable. Thank you.